Let's begin by offering our respects to ISKCON founder Acharya and our preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpataruvyaschа Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Okay, we welcome all of you to our online weekly Krishna book classes. We have with us here Auntie Neeta, Shailesh Latkar, Ritu Lalwani, Karuna, Joli Nandwani, Swapna Latkar, Sheetal Latkar, Shantaram Latkar. Then we have Aja, Manju Nihalani, Wendy Perez, Durga Prasad, Meenakshi, my husband is there. Then we have Swami, Dipti Adnani, Devina, N.C. Venkachari, and Shivani. Okay, so what did we see in the previous class?
I think no one has a...
Was that? If you raise your hand, you speak first. Who wants to go for it? Nobody remembers?
So there's a jewel that one of the kings, Syamantaka jewel, that the king he worships the sun god and he obtains the jewel from the sun god. And then that jewel is supposed to give around 170 pounds of gold if you worship it. So he installs it in a temple at Dwarka and he starts worshipping it. And then Krishna asks him to submit it to Ugrasen, as he is the king of the kings. And so then all the money that comes from the Syamantaka jewels should go to Ugrasen so that it is contained in his treasury, but he doesn't agree. He instead installs it as a jewel in the for worship, and he worships it. And his younger brother, he wears the Syamantaka jewel, and he goes into the forest. And when he goes into the forest, he is killed by a tiger. The tiger is killed by a Jamban, and then he feels that uh, Krishna has taken away the Syamantaka jewel, and he spreads that kind of story that he has stolen the jewel, and he ruins his reputation. So since his reputation is being ruined, Krishna goes into the forest to see what has happened. And when he goes into the forest, he first finds the younger brother's body, and then the lion's body, and then he finds a long tunnel going into a different place, and then he goes into the tunnel, and then tells the people of Dwarka who had come with him to stay at the entrance of the tunnel and not come inside. Then he goes inside, and then he has a fight with Jamban for 28 days. Then Jamban finally realizes that he is his lord, and then he not only gives him the jewel, but he also gives his daughter in marriage to him, to Krishna. And then Krishna returns after 28 days when his family and his entire clan was very worried about him, and they thought that something ulterior might have happened. And then he comes back with Jambavan's daughter and the jewel. Then the Singh calls for a meeting, and then the entire situation was explained, that how the younger brother was eaten by a lion, and then how the jewel went to Jamban, and then that is Krishna, hands over the jewel to the king, and then the jewel is taken by the king, but his head is down, and he thinks about a way to earn back his respect with Krishna.
Okay, very nice. So what is the name of Jambavan's daughter?
Jambanti.
Ambanti.
Jambavanti, yes.
Jambavanti.
Krishna's second wife, no? Jambavanti.
Yes.
Okay.
Now we'll come to his third wife.
Yes. Very nice. Thank you. Did we read this slide? I think we did read this slide. But we'll read it again for the sake of continuity. All right. So till here, we saw how Krishna returns with his new wife, Jambavati, to Dwarka. So we'll read this slide again. King Ugrasena then called for a meeting of all important kings and chiefs. He also invited Satrajit. And before the whole assembly, Krishna explained the incident of recovery of the jewel from Jambavan. Krishna wanted to return the valuable jewel to King Satrajit. Satrajit, however, was ashamed because he had unnecessarily defamed Krishna. He accepted the jewel in his hand, but he remained silent, bending his head downward and without saying anything in the assembly of the kings and chiefs, he returned home with the jewel. Then he thought about how he would clear himself of the abominable act he had performed by defaming Krishna. He was conscious that he had offended Krishna very grievously and that he had to find a remedial measure so that Krishna would again be pleased with him. So Satyajit is thinking, what can I do to correct the situation? No, because he understands that he has performed a very serious offense by defaming Krishna. So he has the jewel in his hand and he goes back, and then let's see what happens. King Satyajit was eager to get relief from the anxiety he had foolishly created due to being attracted by a material thing, specifically the Syamantaka jewel. Truly afflicted by the offense he had committed against Krishna, he sincerely wanted to rectify it. From within, Krishna gave him good intelligence, and Satyajit decided to hand over to Krishna both the jewel and his beautiful daughter Satyabhama. There was no alternative for mitigating the situation, and therefore he arranged the marriage ceremony of Krishna and his daughter. He gave in charity both the jewel and his daughter to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Satyabhama was so beautiful and qualified that Satyajit, in spite of being asked for her hand by many princes, was waiting to find a suitable son-in-law. By the grace of Krishna, he decided to hand his daughter over to him. So see, Jambavan gave his daughter and the jewel to Krishna. And Satyajit also has given the jewel and his daughter to Krishna. Is there a difference between the two? Is there a difference between Jambavan giving and the giving of Satyajit?
Yes, because Satyajit gave it for his own guilt. Means he defamed it.
Uh-huh. And Jambavan?
But Jamvan gave him with the pleasure. Means because he was satisfied with Krishna and he was very impressed with Krishna. So that's why he gave his daughter to Krishna,
So
Jamvan.
who has bhakti in the heart?
Jambavan.
Satyajit.
Jambavan.
Yes, Jambavan has bhakti in the heart. Satyajit wants to rectify the situation because he understands that he has committed an offense. But Jambavan, when he gives, the product is the same, no, daughter and the jewel. But there is a difference in the giving of Jambavan and the difference of giving in Satyajit. Okay, very nice. Lord Krishna, being pleased with Satyajit, informed him that he did not have any need of the Syamantaka jewel. It is better to let it remain in the temple as you have kept it, he said, and every one of us will derive benefit from the jewel. Because of the jewel's presence in the city of Dwarka, there will be no more famines or disturbances created by pestilence or excessive heat and cold. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 56th chapter of Krishna, the story of the Syamantaka jewel. So see, Krishna, he accepted both the daughter and the jewel from Jambavan. But in the case of Satyajit, he only accepted his daughter, but he did not accept the jewel. That is also very interesting in the difference between Jambavan and Satyajit. So why Krishna does not accept the jewel? We see here the external reason, but there is another internal reason also, which is explained to us by the Acharyas. We will discuss that. So see, here the story ends from where it began. See, Satyajit was worshipping the Syamantaka on the altar. And now at the end of the story also, exactly that only is happening, that Satyajit is going to continue to worship the Syamantaka jewel on the altar. But what has changed? What has changed? Now Krishna has two more wives, right? And he has also reciprocated to the request and to the love of Jambavan. That's why he fought with him for 28 days. We discussed how previously it was Jambavan's desire because he's in the Veera Ras, no, the rasa of chivalry, the rasa of courage. And even though he had helped Lord Ramachandra in the killing of Ravan and then the search of Mother Sita, that rasa was not fully satisfied. So Lord Ramachandra had promised him that when I descend in my next incarnation, then I will fulfill your desire. So although initially Krishna did not want Satyajit to worship the jewel and give it to Ugrasen, but now at the end of the story, he's allowing him to do the exact same thing. So what has changed is that now he has two more wives, and plus Satyajit also has learned a lesson, and also he has reciprocated with the love of Jambavan. So these things have changed.
Madhavi,
Now,
can you? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
tell me.
Can you explain? I just missed that how Satyajit is connected with Lord Rama in the previous life.
Satyajit with Lord Rama in the previous life, I don't know. I have not read it in any commentary by the Acharyas.
But what you just mentioned here, right? Did you mention
How one is
Jambavan.
connected.
Jambavan.
Oh, Jambavan? Okay.
Jambavan not in the previous life. Jambavan as Jambavan only, but he was still around in Treta Yuga when Lord Ramachandra had come. So when he was actually working for Sugriv, no, the king of the monkey king, and he helped Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra and Sugriva, they became friends, and so Sugriva said that I will send my search parties to different parts of the country to search for where is Mother Sita. So Jambavan's party, which also included Hanuman, they went to the south of India, and that's when they discovered that Mother Sita has actually been taken across the ocean by Ravan.
Oh, okay.
Because of that eagle friend, what was his name? Sampati.
Jadayu.
No, Jatayu was the one who got killed when
Oh, okay.
Ravan was taking Mother Sita. Jatayu tried to save Sita, and in that effort, Jatayu was killed. This was Sampati. So
Oh,
Sampati informs them that yes, Ravan has taken Mother Sita across. And then, of course, when the entire army goes up, they build a bridge and they go across the ocean, and then there is a war, and Ravan is eventually killed. No? So, like that, he had served Ravan. I'm sorry, he had served Lord Ram in the Treta Yuga, and now he is also serving Krishna because it is also Krishna's desire to have a fight, no, like a sport. And even though Krishna had fought with Chanur, Mushtik, and Kamsa, but they were not very strong warriors. Jambavan was the strongest entity at that time. So therefore, Krishna also was able to fulfill his desire of having a good a fight as a sport with Jambavan. So that way, Jambavan is also serving Lord Krishna.
oh, okay.
Okay, now let's see. Why did Krishna not accept the jewel from Satyajit and only accepted his daughter, while on the other hand from Jambavan he accepted both the jewel and his daughter? So Sri Jiva Goswami explains in his Gopal Champu, Satyajit began to think, Krishna is secretly angry with me. How can I satisfy him? How to prevent his relatives from cursing me? Ah, yes, I should be clever like Jambavan by giving my jewel of a daughter, even more valuable, along with this jewel. I will satisfy him, though I have deliberately made him my enemy. Thinking in this way, acting in his own interests to avoid the curse, by the proper method, he gave his daughter named Satyabhama along with the jewel. He did not know that Jambavan, unlike himself, had awakened his previous strong bhakti. When Satyajit gave both, Krishna accepted his fortunate daughter for the sake of her life, but not the jewel, because he understood the girl's devotion and Satyajit's lack of devotion. His lack of devotion has been described. Satyabhama's bhakti was unlimited and she had a natural attachment to Krishna. Satyajit's giving the gem and his daughter was a cause of astonishment for several of his friends, including his father. She had no other goal than Krishna. From her birth, she had Rati for him. Rati means love, prema. Out of shyness, she hid this from her father. When she reached youth, this attraction became fully manifested. How could she hide her Rati and how could he restrict her? So, see, this is the reason why Krishna accepted the daughter Satyabhama because she had no other goal than Krishna. From her very birth, she had Rati for him, but of course, she had not revealed this to her father. So, Krishna was aware of Satyabhama's devotion for him, and he's also aware of Satyajit's lack of devotion as opposed to the devotion that Jambavan had in his heart for Krishna. So, therefore, he accepted Satyabhama, but he did not accept the jewel from Satyajit, as explained by Sri Jiva Goswami. So when we offer something to Krishna, Krishna is not seeing the product that you're offering. What Krishna is seeing is the intent, your feeling, your love, your affection, your bhakti, your devotion. That is what Krishna is seeing. So in the Mahabharata also, when Krishna went as a peace messenger, Duryodhana had invited him for a lavish feast. And on the other side, Vidura also had invited him for a very simple meal, because Vidura, he's the son of a maidservant. So he's not living like how these royal members of the family are living. No. So Krishna rejected the invitation of Duryodhana. Krishna told Duryodhana at that time, one accepts an invitation for a meal only under two conditions. One is if there is good friendship between the two parties, and two is if the person is hungry. So Krishna said, I'm not hungry, and there is no question of friendship with you because you are an enemy of my devotees, the Pandavas, and you are hassling them so much. So therefore, Krishna rejected the invitation of Duryodhana, and he went to the house of Vidura. And there, Vidura's wife, what she was doing, in her ecstasy, she's peeling the banana, she's giving the banana skin to Krishna, and she was throwing away the pulp. Hmm. And Krishna was eating, very happily eating the banana peel. And then Vidura comes back and he tells his wife, "What are you doing?" No, and then he says, "Okay, I'm sorry." And he then offers the pulp to Krishna. Krishna says, "Actually, the skin was tastier than the pulp." So Krishna sees the love behind our offerings. That's very, very important. The bottom line is there should be some love, some affection, some bhakti for Krishna. See, then again, because we saw previously how Nanda Maharaj had given permission for Krishna's wedding in the case of Rukmini. Now, what about Krishna's wedding with Jambavanti and Satyabhama? Was that permission given as well? Let's see again in the Gopal Champu. Madhukanta said, Madhukanta is the narrator in Gopal Champu, right? So he's saying, when two more messengers arrived, so these messengers again have gone to Vrindavan, and they are giving the message to Nanda Maharaj. When two messengers arrived, as before they spoke before Nanda, everyone is happy, but there is one cause of sorrow, difficult to uproot. We do not know what will happen in the future. So these messengers, they have given the message to Nanda Maharaj and to the residents of Vrindavan how Krishna has recovered the Syamantaka jewel, and how now Satyabhama and Jambavanti have been offered to him as wives. This is the story that has been narrated. But they are saying now there is one cause of sorrow. So Nanda said, what is that? The two messengers said, Satyabhama and Jambavanti have not yet married him. Very sad they do not eat. Nanda said, why did they not get married? The messenger said, because your permission has not been given. I think that Vasudev is reluctant to obtain your permission. Nanda said to all, now many kings will give their daughters to Krishna, but there will be some obstacle because of us. At one time, we should give a letter telling them not to be embarrassed. Everyone said, yes, but send it to Uddhava. Nanda said, let it be written this way. Dear Uddhava, the many desires that we have had, the many desires that we had have been dissolved by the Creator. Do your actions with my general permission, by which a particle of goodness can arise for those women who have the quality of engaging in his service with devotion. Krishna should be served in each house by his wives. So Nanda Maharaj is now giving a general permission. He understands that many kings now will want to give their daughters to Krishna. So he said, let's give a general permission and let Krishna accept all those women because they have the quality of engaging in his service with devotion. When the letter arrived in Dwarka, Krishna understood the contents through Uddhava. He sent a reply through a messenger indicating his agreement, which they happily accepted. So now Nanda Maharaj has given a general permission for Krishna to be married. Now, this is a pastime which has very, very important lessons for all of us, especially for people who think that, but these ancient stories do not have lessons for us in the modern era. Sometimes people who do not have a devotional background, they say, oh, but these are distant stories and they are not very much applicable in the modern era. So actually this Syamantaka jewel episode is very much relevant in the Kali Yuga, especially because here now in Kali Yuga, this particular age, people are very, very deeply rooted in materialism. Everyone is so prone to illusion. Everybody has a lot of opinions about many things. Not much importance is given to Shastra. In Kali Yuga, see, the Srimad Bhagavatam describes, there is a chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam 12th canto that talks about the symptoms of the age of Kali. And one of the symptoms that is given there of the age of Kali is that wealth alone is the sign of a man's good birth, proper behavior, and fine qualities. So if a person is wealthy, then it is considered that he has good birth, he has proper behavior, and he has fine qualities. So this is a characteristics of the age of Kali. In the age of Kali, people are accepting as role models actors and politicians and sports people. People are no more accepting as role models the great personalities, the great devotees from our shastras, great devotees like Bhishma or Jambavan or Kunti Maharani or the Pandavas, Arjuna. So many valuable lessons can be learned by these great personalities, but they are no more the role models of people in Kali Yuga. Why? Because they are only deeply rooted in materialism and they are not reading the Shastras anymore. So actually this Syamantaka story gives us many, many valuable lessons. So let us see some of these. The radiance of Sri Krishna eclipses all the gold in the world. So yes, we see how the Syamantaka is a very, very valuable jewel. And actually the Syamantaka jewel itself is not a problem because it is given by the sun god, who's not an ordinary personality. Of course, he's the sun god, very, very powerful, elevated personality. And he has given it to his devotee. And the Syamantaka not only produces enormous amount of gold every day, but it is also described how wherever the jewel is present, it will there is no question of any inauspiciousness. So yes, the Syamantaka is very, very very nice present that the sun god has given, but the gold, the effulgence of Krishna is far greater than any amount of gold that this world can have. We saw how the brilliance of that Syamantaka jewel was such that people were not able to recognize the face of the person. Satyajit, when he entered Dwarka, they were not able to see Satyajit's face because of that effulgence. But Krishna's effulgence is such that actually all the spiritual planets are floating in the Brahmajyoti. And in the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna describes how in the spiritual world is not illuminated by the sun or the moon or by electricity. Why? Because that's a self-illuminating planet. Because Krishna is personally present there, it is illuminated by the effulgence of Krishna's body. So there is no need of the effulgence of the sun or the moon in the spiritual world. So that's the power of Krishna. That's the power of Krishna. And also the potency of Krishna is such that by his breathing he is creating millions of universes. The Syamantaka jewel is producing some gold. Okay, very nice. But actually Krishna's potency is that he is creating millions of universes. So which is more powerful, some gold or creating actually universes, huge universes? And that too, Krishna is not producing those universes. It is an expansion of 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 Krishna, which is Mahavishnu or Karanodakashay Vishnu, who is producing those universes. So that is the potency of Krishna. So the radiance of Sri Krishna eclipses all the gold in the world. Gold material opulences bring false pride, trouble, and misery unless used in the service of Krishna. So see how although the Syamantaka jewel was such that it is supposed to bring all auspiciousness, ever since Satyajit had that Syamantaka jewel, his problems, his miseries increased or decreased?
Increase.
It increased,
Increase.
It increased, yes. So why? Because he was very, very proud of that jewel. He was very, very possessive about that jewel. It made him very, very it put him under illusion. No? He failed to see that Krishna also is present personally in Dwaraka, but he did not go to meet Krishna. Instead, he's gone to Dwaraka to show off the jewel, and then he disobeyed Krishna. He established a temple so that the jewel can be worshipped by the Brahmanas. So God is personally present then in the same city, and still his attachment to the jewel was so much that it has completely covered the intelligence of Satyajit. So gold brings false pride, no? And it
Okay.
also made him lose sight of what is really good for him. See, when we hold on to things that we think is good for us, then we will lose out on those things that are actually good for us. So Satyajit was thinking that, oh, I should hold on to this jewel. So he missed out. He lost out on what is really good for him, which is to surrender to Krishna, or to worship Krishna, or to get the association of Krishna, or to even obey Krishna's instructions. So this is the reason why that object which had the power to remove all misfortune, instead it became the cause of all misfortune. So gold and opulences, they can bring anxiety and violence and misery if it is not used for Krishna consciousness. I was reading some years back how there was a businessman in Pune. He had got made a gold shirt. I don't know if you have read it in the news. He was from Pune, and a shirt fully made of gold, and he also had belt of gold and all other accessories of gold. So the value of that shirt, along with the accessories and his gold belt and all that, came to some 2 crore rupees. And he was wearing it, and also he wanted to show off his gold, just as how Satyajit wanted to show off the Syamantaka jewel. This Pune businessman, he was showing off. He called the media, and he was all over the newspapers and on the news to show off his gold shirt. Eventually, what happened? He was battered to death in front of his son. And nobody knows where that shirt is today. So gold actually can bring anxiety and misery if it is not used in the service of Krishna. Not only gold, but any kind of material opulence. See, Albert Einstein, what was his opulence? What was his opulence? Who knows?
Knowledge.
Yeah, his intelligence, no? He was very, very intelligent. So his opulence, his quality was his brain, right? And he had given instructions that after his death, he wanted his body to be cremated, so that no part of his body is misused or used for any other purposes. And he said that he wants his body to be cremated and his ashes should be scattered secretly. That was his instruction. But what happened when he died? The pathologist who conducted the, what do you call it? The
Autopsy.
autopsy. Yes, autopsy. Thank you. The pathologist who conducted his autopsy, he removed his brain. And he chopped his brain into, I think, 200 or 240 pieces, something like that. And he stored them in jars and then he sent it to different researchers so that they can research his brain. So even after death, that his intelligence was a cause of misery for Einstein, because he did not respect his last desire also, that his body should be completely cremated. No, the brain was removed. And so some of these, and then later it was recovered after many years, but even today, some of his brain parts are missing. Nobody knows where they are. So, yes, these material possessions can be or they
Intellect,
are a cause of misery if they are not used in Krishna consciousness.
intellect also, right? That's what
Yes,
we. Okay.
yes. Okay, possess your possessions without becoming possessed by it. Remember, all abilities are an inheritance from God. So when we possess some things, whatever it may be, anything material, whether it is your intelligence or your any ability, somebody may be an expert at cooking, somebody may be very expert in cleaning, or whatever ability you have, or somebody may be very expert at some sport, whatever it is, one should not become possessed with it, because Satyajit, he became possessed with that jewel, therefore he became blinded and illusion, and he did so many mistakes. In fact, and his inauspiciousness continues. In the next chapter, we will see how Satyajit was actually murdered for that jewel again. That is in the next chapter. So it doesn't stop here.
But that is already given to Ugrasena, right? Then why?
No, Krishna returned it to Satyajit, no.
Oh, okay.
So now Satyajit has the jewel, and then in the next chapter we'll see how he was murdered for it.
Well, that's the reason Krishna returned it back.
No, Krishna didn't want him to be murdered, but Krishna returned it because there was no devotion in that gift. Wendy,
Mhm.
tienes tu mano?
But Krishna told.
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandava Pranam.
Hare
I
Krishna.
just thank you so much for the class. Thank you so much for this explanation. I just want to share my realization. Also, you mentioned today now in the class, and then when I was doing my yapa today, so I was yesterday in a temple, and then we saw a lot of cows, and then one day in the temple they say that we have to be like a cows. So the cows provide milk, and from the milk we make so many products. So we have to be like a cows, that we have to use our ability like a cows to perform everything for Krishna. So thank you so much. I just got back to this, and then it came my mind, and then we have to be like that to be
Jai.
happy here.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, very much for sharing your realization. Very nice. Okay, so
Mataji, but
yeah,
Krishna told him to keep the jewel in the temple. So which
yes,
means it was not his. He kept it in the temple. He didn't have it. So why did they kill him because of the jewel?
we will see that in the next chapter. That is coming up
Okay,
in the
okay.
next chapter.
Okay, thank you.
Suspense.
Okay.
Mataji, I'm not liking every time whenever they do the Kanya Dan, they say it's charity, charity. Why? Why giving a girl as a charity?
Because you're giving your daughter away, no? You're giving your daughter
Mm.
without expecting anything in return. So that is charity is what? When you give away something that you possess without
Oh, okay.
expecting anything in return, that is
That's a
charity,
good.
no? That's why it's
Okay.
called Kanyadan. Yeah. That's why it's the greatest charity, Kanyadan, because it's something daughters are very dear to their fathers. Okay. So yeah, and see, as opposed to Krishna, I'm sorry, as opposed to Satyajit, who was so possessed by his possession, Krishna, what did he show? He showed detachment to the jewel because he got it, but then he gave it again back to Satyajit and said, okay, you can keep it and you can continue to worship this jewel in the temple. So Krishna is showing detachment from the thing. So this thing not only applies to gold, but it applies to our abilities, intelligence, any kind of influence we may have, our beauty, education, talent, whatever ability we have, we must always remember that it is coming from Krishna. So don't be possessed with it. Always be ready to use whatever you're having in the service of Krishna, in the service of Krishna. The temporary fades, the eternal remains. Invest wisely. See, Satyajit had a choice. Either he keeps the Syamantaka jewel with him, what he has received, because of course he deserved it because he has pleased the sun god. So sun god has given it to him as a gift, right? So he chose the jewel over Krishna. But what's the point here is anything that is material is only temporary. If he would have worshipped Krishna, that worship of Krishna, that surrender to Krishna would have been eternal. No, he will carry it with him life after life after life, even after death, even in the spiritual world. It's always going to remain. So we should, and so in this case, we saw how eventually, again, as I said, Satyajit will be killed for that jewel. So the temporary fades, the eternal remains. What are we going to invest in? In what are we going to put our money, our time, and our efforts? That we have to, that's a choice that we have to make. If you tell a businessman, you invest in this company where you only invest, and you will not get anything in return, the businessman is not going to invest in that, right? So it's the same thing. If any intelligent person would invest his time and energy in that which is going to give you eternal returns, as opposed to that which is not going to give you any returns. So anything material is only going to last at best till this lifetime, at best. That also if you are lucky. But eventually, it is your Krishna bhakti that you're going to carry, because that is eternal. See, Hiranyakashipu, he did so much of tapasya to get those boons from Lord Brahma. But how long did it last? He was defeated by his own son, a 5-year-old Prahlad. Correct, no? Because of the spiritual strength of Prahlad. Even Ravan, he did so much of tapasya to please Lord Shiva and get some boons. But eventually what happened? He was finished by Lord Ram. So they invested so much on the temporary. Yeah, Shivani?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. So just now, just as you said, that see, we all know that everything is temporary in this material world. We see our loved ones dying and people who are rich dying. Nobody takes anything with them. So then, why are people in this Kali Yuga so? Matlab, they're just after just wealth and fame and all of this. They know that's not going with them. I mean, that's given. No matter who you are, you're Ambani or someone from a street.
Why? Because they have not yet come in touch with a pure devotee. They have not yet come in touch with the books of Srila Prabhupada. They are still in illusion. They are being carried away by what is shown on the television. They are carried away by what is being taught in the schools and colleges. Now, modern education system is actually preparing you to be more possessed with your possessions, because they are teaching you how to survive in this cutthroat competition, no, at any cost. So this is the modern education. We don't have the Gurukul system anymore, where the children are taught spirituality and they are taught the importance of being connected to God. That is not there anymore. So unless they don't come in touch with a devotee, they are not going to come out of that illusion.
So
That's the
even
reason why.
you see that around you. I mean, day in and day out, you see that this person died or that person died, and they're famous and all that, but nothing goes with them. I mean, that's
Yeah, that's one of the things. No, see, even in Mahabharata, when the Pandavas were in the forest and they wanted to fetch water, they went to the lake to get water. One by one, the Pandavas brothers were going, and that lake was there was a yaksha who said that this water belongs to me, and only if you answer my questions you will be allowed to go. But the brothers, none of the brothers answered the questions. They all died. When Yudhishthir went, the yaksha told Yudhishthir that you have to answer my questions, only then you can take the water. So Yudhishthir, of course, he is the most what do you want, balanced personality, he's Dharmaraj. So therefore he said, yes, I'm ready to answer questions. And one of the questions that the yaksha asked Yudhishthir was, what is it that surprises you the most? And Yudhishthir said, that which surprises me the most is this, that every day people see people around them dying, not taking anything with them, but still they think that, oh, this is not going to happen to me. This death is not going to come to me. This disease will not come to me. So they think that this is only happening to others. It will not happen to me. This is what surprises me the most. So this was Yudhishthir's answers. So that is the characteristics of modern times. What can we do?
thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So coming back to this point, the temporary fades, the eternal remains. Simply worshipping Krishna would have proved much more valuable use of time for Satyajit, but instead he opted to worship the temporary, which is the Syamantaka jewel. The more you chase matter, the further happiness runs. The further happiness runs. Greed destroys peace. So the more we chase after matter, the more we chase after money and wealth and beauty and so many other things, the more the further happiness runs away from us. This is exactly what happened with Satyajit. No. Why? Because material happiness is never going to be we are never going to be we are never going to be satisfied with what we have materially. A person who has a cycle wants to have a motorcycle. One who has a motorcycle desires to have a car. One who has a car wants to have a luxury car. So it goes on and on and on and on. So one is never satisfied by these material commodities. And when we are not satisfied, what happens? We want more and more and more, right? We get greedy. And when our greed is not satisfied, then we get angry. So therefore, it is never going to bring us happiness. So the more we chase matter, the more happiness goes away from us. Where envy thrives, no reputation survives. So one characteristics of this material world is envy. Everyone has some envy in the heart. Some have more, some have less. So reputation in today's world is very, very fragile. It's more fragile than we can think also. And no one's reputation is safe in this world. Even Mother Sita, the most chaste woman, even even after she passed the fire test, still some people doubted her chastity. Even her reputation was tarnished. People of Dwarka also, in this particular pastime, they accepted Krishna as God. They accepted Krishna as their leader. They also saw the devatas, the demigods coming to Dwarka and coming there to meet Krishna. They saw all that. Still, for a brief period, when Satyajit spread the rumors, even they started to doubt the character of Krishna. Of course, for a very brief period only, but they did doubt the character of Krishna. So, that's the nature of this material world. And after all, we are here also in this material world because of envy. No, we were envious of the position of God. Therefore, we fell down to the material world. So,
That is the only reason, Mataji. That's the only reason.
yes, that's the moment that thought comes to our mind,
Mhm.
immediately we fall from the
Oh yeah, we will have a feeling we
spiritual
want to
world.
experience. Okay,
Yes, yes,
that
yes,
freedom. Okay.
exactly, yes. Okay, continuing with our lessons. Verify before you vilify. So in this case, we saw how Satyajit just came to the conclusion when he saw that his brother is missing, he's not there. Instead of actually going and verifying the facts, he just concluded that, oh, Krishna only must have killed my brother and Krishna only must have stolen the jewel, because Krishna previously he showed interest in the jewel. So he, instead of verifying the facts, he just went on to accuse Krishna. Not only he accused Krishna, he also spread the false rumors against Krishna. So it's very, very important that if we are told something also, we should think about what is being said to us and verify the facts before we can accuse or accuse anyone with harsh words. And like that, then we can refrain from being a part of a network of people who are spreading rumors. Why? Because a false rumor can do lasting damage to the person. Even after later, if the name is cleared up, there will be someone who would recall, oh, this. So actually, and also it can psychologically affect the person. So therefore, one should be very, very careful. One should always verify before we start to accuse others and be a part of a network that is spreading rumors and causing lasting damage to such people. Protect your integrity. Truth always deserves a defense. So when Krishna was falsely accused, Krishna did not just let it go, right? He went and he traced the path of Satyajit's brother Prasena. He went and saw, where is this Prasena gone? He traced the path. He found Prasena dead. He found the lion dead. Then he traced the path of Jambavan inside the cave, and he reaches the cave and he sees that the jewel is there inside that cave. No, so if we are falsely accused, then we have to protect our integrity and we need to clear up our name, especially for the devotees. Why? Because if a devotee's name is tarnished, then it also affects the spiritual master of the devotee. It actually affects the entire Guru Parampara. The whole Guru Parampara will be tarnished. Even the name of the organization the person is belonging to, even the name of the organization will be tarnished. So therefore, if there is a false accusation, then we should protect our integrity. We should clear up any false notions that people have about us. This is how Krishna did. Repentance and forgiveness restore relationships. So even if a relationship has been tarnished, later, if there is regret from the side or repentance from the side of the person who has offended, and on the other side, the party who has been offended, right, he forgives, then the relationships can be restored. So repentance and forgiveness restore relationships. This is how we see in the case of Satyajit and Krishna. Never sacrifice dharma. Very, very important lesson. Never sacrifice dharma. No matter what the situation, what the adversities, what the challenges, nothing, absolutely nothing is ever worth abandoning dharma. Satyajit made that mistake because he abandoned wanting to go and even see Krishna in return for worshipping that Syamantaka jewel, because he became mad after he got that jewel. No? So he thought the jewel is more important than Krishna. So he didn't do that which is right. So initially, one may be carried away. Dharma may appear difficult, impractical. Sometimes they say it's something that cannot be applied in the modern times, so on and so forth. But trust me, at the end of the day, if you follow dharma, no matter what the difficulty, what the adversities, eventually you will be happy. Eventually you will be emerging victorious. It's one example that really blows my mind from the Mahabharata is when during that incident of the attempted disrobing of Draupadi, right? She was dressed in a single cloth, right? Her hair was open. She was in that state, and she's the queen, right? She's the queen. She has 5 husbands who have no equal on the planet. And she belongs to this kingdom of Hastinapur, which is the most powerful kingdom at that time. And she's been dragged by her hair by Dushasan into that assembly. But even so, that was the lowest point of her life. Lowest point of her life. She was so humiliated. They tried to disrobe her in that entire assembly, full of people, full of men. But in that situation also, in that lowest point of her time also, she never gave up dharma. Because when she was dragged to the assembly, she offered her respects to her father-in-law, to Bhishma Dev, and to all those elderly members of the Kuru assembly. She offered her respects, because that is what is dharma. As the daughter-in-law, she offered her respects over there. And then when Dhritarashtra, Dhritarashtra wanted to, so now the situation is such that Krishna gives the unlimited sari, right? And then they are not able to disrobe her. Dhritarashtra realizes that something terrible is going to happen if we do not save this situation, because there are inauspicious omens also. They are hearing some inauspicious sounds. And therefore, then now Dhritarashtra is afraid. So he tells Draupadi that you ask for whatever you want. So she says, okay, I want that my husband is freed from slavery, because they had lost themselves. So now practically they are all slaves of the Kauravas. So whose husband she asked to be freed? Which husband? I'm sorry, which husband? She had 5 husbands, right? So she asked that Yudhishthir should be freed, her elder. Why? Because he is the eldest Pandava. So she didn't ask for the freedom of Arjuna, who had won her Swayamvar. But she asked for the freedom of Yudhishthir, who actually lost her in the gambling match, because that is dharma, that he is the eldest brother. No, so even there she stuck to dharma. And then Dhritarashtra said, okay, ask one more boon. And she said, okay, I want the freedom of all the 4 brothers, and get back whatever they have lost in the gambling match. And then Dhritarashtra said, yes, take it, and ask more, ask more. So Dhritarashtra wanted to correct the situation. So that time Draupadi said, no, according to Shastra, a woman should not ask for more than 2 boons. So she could have asked for so many things, but still she stuck to dharma, and she said, no, I should not ask for more than 2. No, even there she stayed firm in her dharma. So she never gave up dharma, even in the lowest point of her life. And that's the reason why this lowest point of her life actually ended up to be that incident which really highlighted her character. Because the Pandavas would have continued to serve as slaves. It was Draupadi who rescued the situation for them. It was Draupadi who rescued the situation. So never give up dharma. Even though initially there may be difficulties, we think it's challenging. Short term, we want to enjoy life, no meat eating, intoxication, let's go for parties, this and that, and do so much of nonsense. We think that we are enjoying life, but ultimately it's only going to get us pain. So now if we go through some challenges, difficulties, anxieties, but we stick to dharma, eventually eternally we are going to enjoy in the kingdom of God. So this is very, very important lesson. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked Krishna, please tell me what is Shreyas. Shreyas means that which may give you inconveniences in the short period, but eventually for the long term it will give you joy. So Krishna says, tell me what is good for my long term benefit. Please tell me what is Shreyas. He is not interested in prayas. Prayas is the opposite, where Initially, you can have some joy, but for the long term, it will only give you suffering and anxiety. So we should all want to engage in those activities which are shreyas, not prayas. The Lord enjoys loving exchanges with his devotees. So we saw in the 28-day fight between Jambavan, we saw how Krishna actually enjoys loving transcendental pastimes with his devotees. This is not only, so God is not only a person, God is not someone who's in a distant planet. No, he is very much here. He's in our hearts. He reciprocates with our desires. He knows what we want. He knows our sincere desires and he reciprocates. God is a person. God is a person. If you shower love and affection to a person, obviously that person also will give you his love and affection. No? So this is the sweet reciprocation, the sweet interexchange of love between God and his devotees. So the Lord enjoys loving exchanges with his devotees. God is not just one light or one energy. He is a person. God is a person. The Lord appears again, the devotee serves again. So previously the Lord was there as Lord Ramachandra, Jambavan served him, and then now he has come as Krishna, and again Jambavan is serving him. The Lord appears again, the devotee serves again. So service is eternal. Service is eternal. Jambavan is not saying, no, I only serve Lord Ram, now I don't want to serve Krishna. It's not like that, no. So service to Lord is eternal. Doesn't matter what is the incarnation, doesn't matter which body we are in. Still, a devotee always wants to render service. So devotional service is eternal. Devotional service is eternal. Chanting catches the attention of Krishna. Very, very important. See, when the Dwarkavasis, they went to Krishna to inform Krishna that the sun god has arrived. They thought that the sun god has arrived. Of course, it was Satyajit. But they went to inform Krishna that the sun god has arrived. Krishna was at that time absorbed in playing a game of chess, right? But what they did is they called out, they chanted the names of Krishna. They called him Damodar. They refer to him as the descendant of the Yadu dynasty. Like that, they chanted the names of Krishna. And when they did that, then they caught hold of Krishna's attention. So when we chant Krishna's name, immediately we are captivating the attention of Krishna. So this is very, very important lesson, that chanting the holy names actually attracts the attention of Krishna. That's why chanting is very, very important. Just as how you may be with 100 people, but as soon as somebody calls out your name, even in some other corner, the moment you hear your name, your attention is drawn towards that part of the place where your name has been called out. Yes. So when the name is called out, it immediately attracts our attention. So when we chant the name of Krishna, it immediately attracts the attention of Krishna. See this photo. Now you tell me, from what we discussed, what is this photo teaching us? What does this photo denote?
It says if you struggle now, you can enjoy your life later, right? Like if you are doing surveys, regular chanting, everything, you will get the fruit and later. But if you are enjoying the material things like partying, liquor, gambling, and all those things, eventually you are going to struggle, right?
Yes. So Shreyas and Prayas. No,
Yeah,
Shreyas
and
and
also
Prayas.
I think while you are doing sadhana and all that, you also get peace of mind at the same time, right? You get
Yes,
food at the end and also peace of mind now. Yeah.
exactly. Correct. So let's see a video. One moment. Right, so we can see how this person immediately, initially it was difficult for him that climb, but later he is going to Later is just sliding through, no? He's enjoying. And this person, initially, yes, he enjoyed. He's just slid down. But then later, for him to climb up, he's just stuck here. He's just stuck here. But this person has already reached his destination. So Shreyas or Preyas. What we
But
want.
what if you get a guru at that struggling point?
Then of
If you're
course.
lucky. Yeah.
Yes. Once you are in touch with a bona fide spiritual master, with a pure devotee, then everything else is written off. That's the beginning of all auspicious. Actually, one sadhu sangha, now, once you come in touch with a pure devotee, that is the beginning of success. Okay, so these are the Jambavan caves. This is exactly where the pastime had taken place in Gujarat. If you go there, if you go to Gujarat, you can visit this place. It's called Jambavan Cave or Jambavan Gufa. It's still there present. So this is from the outside, and this is how it looks from the inside. See here. You have this photo of Jambavan giving the jewel and Jambavanti to Krishna. This is exactly where this had taken place. And you also have self-manifested Shiva lingas inside that cave. See here. It says here, Swayambhu Shivaling. So these are self-manifested Shivalingas which are inside the cave.
So we always had Shaivites ever since all Veda, everything existed.
Yeah, because see, Lord Shiva, wherever you have a dham of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva is the Kshetrapal. He is the protector of the dham. Wherever you go, whether it's Vrindavan or Mathura or Jagannath Puri, you have Lord Shiva as a protector of the dham. For example, in Vrindavan, he's residing as Gopeshwar Mahadev. Why Gopeshwar Mahadev? Because during the Rasa dance, he wanted to participate in the Rasa Leela, and therefore then he was advised to take a dip in holy water. And when he took a dip in the holy water, he came out as a gopi. He was dressed as a gopi, and he was participating in the Rasa dance for some time until it was discovered that actually he's not a gopi, he's Lord Shiva. So he's there as Gopeshwar Mahadev in Vrindavan, and it is said that when you go to Vrindavan, you first go and visit Gopeshwar Mahadev. You seek his blessings so that I can have proper darshan of the dham in the right mood, in the right with the right essence, and you pray. So that's why this particular Shivalinga is dressed up like a gopi in that particular temple. You just Google Gopeshwar Mahadev in Vrindavan, you can see how Lord Shiva there, he is dressed up as a gopi. He's there as Gopeshwar Mahadev.
But in some point, there was a misunderstanding between Shaivites and Vaishnavites, right? And they used to have fights between them. What was the reason?
Again, reason is not proper knowledge of the Shastras. That's all. Because if you read the Shastras, then the
Yeah.
Bhagavatam says that Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. Nowhere they will declare that Shiva is God, right? But yeah, it's again not proper knowledge. That's all. Brahma Samhita also compares, no? Brahma Samhita says the difference between Krishna and Lord Shiva is like milk and yogurt. From milk you can make yogurt, from yogurt you cannot make milk. So Lord Vishnu, Krishna or Vishnu Tattva compared to milk, and Lord Shiva is compared to yogurt. What is the thing is Lord Shiva comes in touch with material nature. So when Mahavishnu is glancing at material nature, his glance takes the form of Shambhu, and then Shambhu and Durga unite. So Durga is actually representing the material nature. So because Lord Shiva is coming in touch with material nature, therefore he is in his own tattva, Shiva tattva. He is not completely God. He does not have all the transcendental qualities, 64 transcendental qualities that God has. But Vishnu Tattva, they don't come in touch with material nature. Of course, Lord Shiva does that because it is his service, it is his greatness, it is his spotless service that he is rendering. So it's not that we want to disrespect Lord Shiva. It's just that we need to understand everyone in the right perspective. That's all.
Okay.
So here you can see this photo of the pastime inside the Jambavan cave. This is the inside of the cave. It's quite big, and there are different sections also inside this cave where Jambavan used to live with his family. Here you can see. There is also something there called as a Daya Shank, a mercy conch. It's a naturally occurring conch-shaped rock formation inside the Jambavan Gufa in Gujarat. It is created by water dripping from the cave ceiling. The water dripping from this formation holds medicinal properties due to the cave's legendary history. So when you go there, you can also see this Daya Shank or the mercy conch.
Where in Gujarat is this?
This is a place called here, Ranavav.
Ranavav. Okay.
Yeah. And there are more than 50 Shiva Lingas inside the Jambavan cave. They are all self-manifested Shiva Lingas.
Mhm.
See here, the cave. It's very big and it has different sections, as I said. Here.
Beautifully preserved it, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
See here. So there are steps also to go to different sections inside.
Mhm.
These are the Shiva Lingas. See, and to go inside the cave, there are some 20 steps. You climb down 20 steps and then you can go inside this cave.
So these steps were also there from.
No, these steps have been made, I think, for the tourists to be able to go now. See, you can see
Mm.
here, they have made these things so that they can go inside. All right, then, with this, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna, we come to the end of today's presentation. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai. Do we have any questions or comments?
Mataji, could we go again? Just a brief story about Jambavan. How was it last? I
Jambavan,
think I'll
which
have
one?
to read
The
it
Ram
again.
story or with Krishna story? Which story?
The last chapter. I think Jambavan was sleeping in the cave, and
No, Jambavan was not sleeping in the cave. See, Jambavan killed the lion that had killed Prasena, right? So Jambavan has killed the lion and he has taken the jewel inside the cave where he's living and he's given it to his son to play with it, to play with. It's not that he's possessed about the jewel, he gives it to his son to play. And the son is there with the nurse, what we call as Dai Ma in Hindi, right? And Krishna, he traces the path of Jambavan and he enters the cave. And as he sees Krishna sees the jewel and he is approaching the child. And then the nurse cries out. And then Jambavan hears the cries of the nurse and he comes there and he sees Krishna. And he thinks that here Krishna has come to steal the jewel. So he fails to recognize Krishna as God because he's angry, right? So he fails to recognize Krishna. And then there is a 28-day fight between Jambavan and Krishna. At the end of 28 days, Jambavan realizes that this person is none other than my Supreme Lord because nobody could defeat Jambavan except for the Lord himself because Jambavan was the most powerful living entity at that time. So then he comes to the realization and then he offers prayers to Krishna and he says that you're the same Lord Ramachandra who built the bridge across the ocean, who because of who the ocean got agitated and even the great sharks and the Timingla fish, they got afraid, like that. He offers prayers to Krishna and then he gives his daughter Jambavanti in marriage along with the Syamantaka jewel to Krishna. That's the story.
okay. Thank you so much. I was a little confused, I think. Thank you, Mataji.
You're welcome.
But Mataji, why was he angry with Krishna?
He
Forgot
was,
that part.
yeah, see, the again external reason is he's angry because he thought this person is an intruder who has come to take away the jewel. That's what he thought from the external angle of vision. But from the internal angle of vision, we read in the previous class how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that actually Krishna covered his intelligence. No, he was covered by Yoga Maya. So because he was covered by Yoga Maya, therefore he was angry and therefore he failed to recognize Krishna. Why he covered him? Because Krishna wanted to fulfill his desire of relating with the Lord in the Veera Ras or the rasa or the mellow or the mood of courage and chivalry, which he had not got in the previous incarnation of Lord Ramachandra. That's why.
Okay. So that was the external part. The one part was that because he thought that Krishna will take the jewel. And what was the other one? Can
That
you
he's an
please repeat
intruder. No,
that?
somebody has just come into your house, right?
Yeah, but he covered his intelligence.
Yes.
For what reason was that?
He covered his intelligence so that then Jambavan will not recognize him and will fight with him. Because if he
This
knows
is
that Krishna is God, he's not going to fight with him with fists and stones and trees and all those things they were fighting. No. So he's not going to fight with him if he knows that he is my God. So therefore he covered his intelligence so that he can fight with Krishna and then fulfill his desire also from the previous incarnation.
that means Krishna wanted him to fight with him, with Krishna.
Yes. To fulfill his own desire. Yes.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Mataji, what is the name of the Jamavat daughter? Jamavati?
Jambavati.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Or are we ready for the exam? Okay, so your link is in your chat right now.